Welcome to the EarthWorks podcast, where our team will share the jargon of carbon from many of our turf friends from the past 30 years.
Hello all, welcome back. It's the EarthWorks podcast. I'm your host, Jack Higgins, and today I'm sitting here with my good buddy, Mr. Brian O'Malley, the superintendent of River Vale Country Club. We're on site in the clubhouse, the closed clubhouse at the closed golf course.
Very closed.
Very closed, dude. However, we're looking outside and...
yeah, we could be open if you wanted to.
It's as green as can be.
Yeah, it's a little nutty.
Yeah, man. Well, what's the deal here? It's like January 30th, and...
It's 50 degrees out. There's no snow out there. The ground's nice and warm, so greens are starting to grow. All kinds of fun stuff happening.
Wow. Well, you're lucky to be closed.
Yeah.
Because, yes, it's very inviting. It looks like it'd be fun to play, but you know that you're not going to recover.
Yeah, and everybody knows that, too, so we'll stay closed until April 1st.
Good deal.
That's the contract, so that's it.
Let's see. So you and I kind of just got to have a nice, easy Monday afternoon lunch.
It was lovely.
It was lovely. Little chit chat. We were catching up on football over the weekend. It was the championship Sunday, and I commented to you that they're both guys we work with. Travis Hogan at Arrowhead, and of course Tony Leonard at the Link. And I'll just say to the listener, they're both on the EarthWorks podcast. Dig back into the
research those guys.
Yeah, dig back into the archives. There's some good talks there, and they were great games. Actually, the Eagles blew away the Niners. It was kind of weird, but
yeah, they got an unfair advantage. They went to their fourth-string quarterback, so I'm not going to give them too much credit yet. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl.
Well, but the fields look good.
Yeah, the fields looked awesome. Both those fields look sweet. So.
Yeah, and you didn't know that they were overseeded Bermuda.
No, I did. I knew they were Bermuda. I didn't realize the Link was Bermuda too.
Right.
All these northern stadiums are getting into the Bermuda grass, which is interesting.
Yeah. Well, you're wearing your Augusta National hat.
Yeah, I haven't been though, so
okay.
that's on the bucket list. I just have friends that go so far. I haven't experienced it, but it's definitely on the list.
You're a Class A member.
Yeah, I can get down there for free. It's just I don't have the time to.
Yeah, it'll happen someday.
Yeah, it's on the list. So,
but the link with Augusta National and these two fields are the ryegrass overseed, and it's a pretty thing. You can do some interesting stuff with a Bermuda grass base, and
I think a lot of guys are surprised how far north that actually comes.
There you go.
I was surprised, at least, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Even Chicago's doing it now this year too.
That's right.
It's about as far north and cold as you get.
You don't get any colder and far north in the NFL.
Yeah, if it works there, it's going to work anywhere.
There you go. So let's see. We want to get into some good old agronomy talk. You're actually. This is actually the second time on the podcast for you. You were on the podcast.
Yeah, we did an on-course ride around and talked about some.
Very early on.
Yeah. That was 2 years ago, maybe, I think. It was definitely during the pandemic.
Right. It was probably one of the third or fourth ones we did, actually.
Okay.
So, but yeah, this is cool. We got the new setup, and it's nice. It's comfortable. We get to kind of sit back here in the winter and have a nice, relaxed, chill talk.
Yeah, we're not driving around and dodging golf.
Right. Because that's what you do here, right?
Yeah, I think we did almost close to 45,000 rounds this year, so it's busy every day.
You're right on the border of New Jersey to New York.
Yeah, we're 2 miles from the border, and Pearl River is only a few miles away too. So
right, so just kind of
north Bergen County. Setting
the stage as to like what the weather's like here, what the kind of timing's like. So to do 45,000 rounds of golf,
that's maxed out. It's pushing it, I think.
And really, April 1st to like
December 15th ish. It depends when we get that first snow, but if we see some bad weather coming in December, we'll shut down automatically until April 1st.
So that's even without these kind of a couple thousand rounds in the winter that you can sneak in the books.
I know in the past they were trying to do winter golf, but the damage and the spring green up was just too much. And that was one of the first things we talked about when I got here is like this winter golf needs to stop because there's no time.
Right.
Tees to recover, and we're not on a ton of acreage, so any wear patterns we're going to see for a couple months in the spring if we try to stay open December, January, which is pretty silly. It's not even worth it.
Well, and it speaks to how popular your place is. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely a group of people that play here every day if they could. So
and if you were open, they would.
yeah, they would.
And
yeah.
they would beat
We'd
the
be
hell
busy.
out. Yeah, you'd be busy.
At this point, too. Like, we weren't that busy back then. Now it's a different ball game. There's a lot more people that are regulars, and they want to play every day if they can. So I know the phone calls are coming in right now asking, why aren't you guys open? But that's kind of the policy we've stuck to, and it's really helped us a lot, at least for me, in the spring, just getting ahead of the recovery game.
Yeah, well, let's talk about kind of the changes. You're coming into your 5th season?
Yeah, it's the 5th season, so I just got done with season 4.
And you've made a lot of changes here. The place has changed because of it. So one of them being just, this was always a golf course that did a lot of rounds, but a lot might have been 30,000 rounds a year.
Yeah, it was closer to low 30s, and I think the pandemic really shot those numbers up. We were doing, say 3 years ago, we're doing on a busy day, July 4th weekend, it would be a little over 200 rounds.
Okay.
On an average. Now we're doing over 250 on a Tuesday in June. So
oh my gosh.
it's like that. It's like that busy. There's no breaks. This is the first year I start closing Monday mornings at least, or if we have an outing in the afternoon, to close until the outing. So that's given me some time because I have zero time to get anything done. It's been crazy. I thought it would slow down a little bit, and it's been Monday through Monday. It's nuts.
Wow. Well, what does that mean for taking care of the place? Just timing wise, let's start with that. Like, what time do you guys start in the morning?
We start at 5. I mean, sometimes
every day.
Every day.
Okay.
And we do that, and especially in the fall. I'll push 5 as long as I can so we can get a head start on everything. So we do a lot of things in the dark, and hopefully by that time everyone's trained up and know what they're doing and know what to watch out for. But it's definitely a hour in the dark where we get everything set up because we just don't have time. Once we get hit by golf, that's it for us. So trying to find gaps and getting stuff done is really difficult.
Well, let's kind of step back to figure out. Of course, the pandemic helped with golf overall.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you were already tracking up before the pandemic.
Yes.
You already made changes here that made it more appealing to play here. Let's pull back to when you got on property, what were some of the things that you said, okay, this is how I can improve?
When I got here, the biggest, there's, I guess, 3 huge issues was water management, general fertilization of the golf course, and really how the place was mowed and how the mowers were kept. There's a lot of dull mowers and things that just weren't really fundamentally just out of whack. So by changing those 3 things, the golfers saw things immediately. I was hoping for more out of the fairways out of the first year, but they were in bad shape. A lot of weeds, a lot of goosegrass, which you've seen.
Right.
Kalinga was all over the place. It was pretty much. I actually skipped the Dimension app and all the preventative weed applications in the first year. I was just spot spraying stuff with Dimension because that's how weak everything was. So we were starting from really ground zero and trying to get this place a lot better. And it did happen right away with having the mowers sharp and getting on track with water management and dialing back the fertility a lot.
Dialing back the fertility.
Yeah, we're way over on all that stuff. So greens, I think, saw the biggest change in that first year, and then the fairways and tees were coming after that. But
okay, so you feel as though they were the place had been over fertilized and overwatered.
And then you throw in the traffic on top of those 2 things, and it was just there's a lot of areas like where there was a lot of traffic, it wasn't managed right, and there's some really fundamental basic issues that once I fixed it, those things turned around right away. It was just the bigger areas with the weed problem and
goosegrass
compaction in fairways, I guess, led to that too. So
yeah, we're kind of downplaying the goosegrass problem. It was
insane.
You had fairways of pure goosegrass.
Yeah, it was like 95% goosegrass on some of these fairways, and I was pretty shocked. August 15th ran around. I was like wondering why all this grass isn't getting cut right, and it looks funny, and it's 100% goosegrass. It was wild.
Wow. So that first year you didn't use the oxidizone. You didn't use any
No,
pre-emerge.
second year, once I saw how much actual goosegrass there was, then we started on the Ronstar program, and that has turned the fairways around almost immediately.
And you were probably one of the first guys, certainly this far north.
Yeah, I had a hard
using
time
it.
finding people that would, because it's one of those things that's hard to get comfortable with an application like that. So I was super nervous about using it.
Mm-hmm.
And the only guys I was really talking to were South Jersey and Carolinas and stuff. It's a totally different.
And Dr. Matt Elmore was here.
Yeah,
by
he
then,
was.
right, and that's kind of his specialty.
Right,
at
he was.
Rutgers.
Yeah, he took some samples from here and was seeing what was resistant. Actually, had some resistance to the goosegrass and the dimension. So the dimension wasn't hitting the goosegrass at all, and they were doing all kinds of testing. But the Ronstar application was
Right,
a big turning point for the fairways. That's for sure.
right.
It was just hard to get comfortable with that application. I definitely didn't want to do it that first year, but after seeing the amount of goosegrass we had that summer, it was easy choice at that point. It's like they can't get much worse.
So at that point, then is Ronstar your only pre-emerge, or do you?
I do dimension with it too. So
Okay.
the Ronstar won't do much on the crabgrass, so I do both.
Okay. Cool.
And I haven't had issues with timing on it. I've been pushing the Ronstar later in the year, so it covers through August.
Mm-hmm.
When I first started, I got it out there early, so we had the opportunity to overseed in the fall. It
Okay.
wasn't still laying around.
And now you probably don't have the need to throw as much seed down in
No,
fairways.
yeah, seeding's pretty minimal. I'll still be on the Ronstar program, but push it a little later. And I'm at a medium rate right now, so I use that and the dimension, and it's worked out pretty well for fairways.
Okay.
Started using it on some tees too that were bad, but
So let's see. So that was fairways. You said, let's talk about pulling away from fertility a little bit, or minimizing that. Like, what was in the history? What did you uncover, and then what did you move towards?
it was mostly like a granular application. They were doing 3 times a year, pretty heavy rates, close to a pound, say.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using a lot of water, so they're seeing a lot of growth on greens.
Yeah.
I got rid of the granulars pretty much in general, except for the EarthWorks stuff for aerification, where I sweep it in the holes. And
that is, you're talking greens. You're talking
Right,
like
greens only.
Renovate Plus and
yeah, they
Myco.
didn't do anything on fairways,
Right.
fertility-wise. I think they were just trying to save money that way.
Oh, okay. So on fairways and
fairways
the
are
goose case
lean.
problem, it was an under fertilization
Right.
problem, and yeah, okay, that makes more sense. But the greens were lush.
Yeah,
kinda
slow,
juicy.
soft. I mean, huge ball marks. That's one complaint I got when I got here was these ball marks are crazy. Balls are plugging. They're slow. They're shaggy. A lot has to do with, the mowers weren't set right. They weren't sharp enough. They're super dull. You're getting bad cuts.
Do you
overwatered.
have a mechanic? I didn't think you had a mechanic, or you do?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
He comes in that. It's like he does 40 hours a week.
Okay,
or
great.
40 hours every 2 weeks, 20 hours. But we finally got grinders. This is the first year we had grinders, so he's pretty more excited than I am. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I've been here 5 years with no grinder. We spent
You sent them out. I thought.
spent a lot of money sending him out, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this is the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And that managing that was been difficult because you have to time it right, and you're skipping a mow on say a Tuesday, and you have to get them back. But 1,000% worth it. That was one of probably the biggest things I did was get these mowers right and sharp, and a lot of the other things fall in line with that, because if you have bad mowers, nothing matters.
It's what you're doing every day.
Yeah, huge difference.
You're totally right. So okay, so greens, you pulled back from that like kind of heavy salt fertilizer 3 times a year at heavy rates, keeping them fat and lush. You went to just like more amendments like Renovate and Myco. Kind of stuck to a good liquid program. You use a number of the EarthWorks liquids on greens too.
Yeah.
And started to see changes with how those greens played and accepted the ball and
They
all
got a
of
lot
that.
more firmer, so we stopped dealing with ball marks, and the speed got up to, I probably got them too fast initially because
Which is what for 45,000 rounds a year? What is a good number there?
I got to be like right at 10.5.
Okay.
Anything above that, I lose pins and that hurts traffic. And some of these greens can't take an 11 on a step meter, else your ball's down the hill and off the green.
Because
So
this is an old golf course.
it is.
kinda like
There's a lot
classic-
of surface drainage, so you're dealing with like almost 3.5% slope on the entire green in general.
Right.
So it's tough to find pins, and once you get them too fast, and you're going to be hard. It's harder to slow them down. 10.5 is my number,
that makes sense.
and it's nothing too crazy for pace of play and that kind of thing because it can get out of control pretty quick. And
Tee, fairway, green.
yeah,
every
especially
hole.
after the pandemic when you're doing 45,000, you get a slow day. You hear about it for the next couple weeks. So there's a good balance there. But as long as I'm trying to get the green smooth and running true, that's the biggest number for me, is just seeing it roll straight and true and kind of manage the distance off of that. I'm not really looking for a number. It's more of a how the ball rolls.
Right, yeah.
And if I can keep the pins I need to keep pins on,
Yeah, do you probably do you feel as though you have 4+ pin placements?
Yeah,
on
I
every
do on
hole?
most of the greens.
Okay.
Some get kind of, you got to push it on some days. So when it gets slower, I can move the pin around a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Airify or top dress or something like that, then I'll push them to different areas of green. That's the biggest thing for us, is just managing the traffic and the people. It's pretty intense. Just can't put the pin wherever you want, or same thing with tee boxes and cart signs and all that stuff. It adds up after a couple months.
Well, so we talked about this, getting prepared for this podcast, that we wanted to hit on a couple of different themes. And one was certainly traffic, but we also said moisture management and labor. And you added labor, that like really all those three kind of tie in.
Yeah, they all work together.
Yes.
Especially the afternoon labor, because once golf gets out there,
Your shot.
I'm done.
Well, so yeah, you start at 5, you get as much done as possible, and you can't put 2 or 3 guys on hoses and run around.
No,
and
we'll
keep
never.
the hot
We'll
spots.
never keep up, and
You'll never keep up, and you have zero space to get it done. You have way
and
too much
that'll
play.
drive every golfer insane too, trying to
It's not
bob and weave yourself through the golf course with. It's $110 to play a golf on a weekend. So if you have guys on hoses and running by that same group every 15 minutes, you're going to drive some people crazy. So
Yeah. Yet you do have a POA Bank golf course in New Jersey, and we all know what it's like to manage that, and when it's 100 degrees out, how do you, if you can't get back out on the golf course? So you've had to get creative with moisture management, and as it relates to managing the traffic and the labor. So let's talk about some specific strategies that you.
I think number one is having the renovate sweeped in the holes.
That was huge for
That
you.
was huge. That's
was
a
this
game
the first
changer.
place you saw that, or did you do
No,
this
I
at
used
Blue?
we used that stuff at Edgewood when we were working with Mike Scott. He was doing that, and I didn't really, when I got here, I knew about it, but I didn't think we could afford it. But it was the best investment we could have made initially with spring and fall aerification. Mm-hmm. It made a huge difference on just evening everything out, making the greens healthy.
But managing hot spots.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You just didn't have to.
No.
You known areas of the golf course that you knew were going to wilt out.
Yeah, so I guess the first step was using the Eco Light by itself on greens that dried out faster.
Okay, very
in
interesting.
general. So we used an extra bag on Eco Light on, say, a handful of greens.
You would do like Renovate Plus Myco everywhere, but
then
you would
Eco Light.
identify the couple greens that.
So then I started to see those greens started to match, other greens.
Okay.
And they would dry out at an acceptable rate.
Right.
Where I didn't have to touch them up as much in the afternoon. And then after seeing the success with that, we started doing hot spots with
all over the golf course.
all over the golf course.
It didn't matter where, fairways.
No. Yeah, so like
rough.
a 5/8 solid tine, punch a bunch of holes, sweep the Eco Light in, and that was also pretty impressive on how it evened out the hot spots. I haven't, like, those areas I don't touch with the hose anymore.
Wow.
Or even with the rest of the green.
What rate of Ecolite would you say? Just
It
wide open.
yeah.
Yeah, just
Sweep, make sure the holes get filled. I mean, it's a 5/8 tine outside the net diameter, and you're going 3 inches deep as I could go with the thing,
and filling it up,
filling
backfilling
in.
with
I didn't leave a ton of Ecolite on top.
Nope.
And brushed it out, brushed the excess off, and then
hit
it with the hose after that too.
Yes,
get
of
it
course.
wet.
Yeah, that's the last step of that process.
Yeah, because it'll take a lot of water to get it down. And
very,
wet.
very, very good point. It's not, and it's doing that process, if you're doing it in the summertime or in the high heat time, even more important to water it in.
Yeah, and you get some brush damage and stuff, so you got to watch how aggressive you get with the.
But this was stuff that you would do off season as well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of getting.
I knew where the spots were, so it's a preventative in May, say.
Right.
April,
and
May.
Is it? Are there still areas on the golf course that you'll do more?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll start probably going more aggressive on a couple more greens that actually stay wet.
Okay, yeah, that's
so
a very good point.
It goes both ways.
It goes both ways.
I wasn't sure if it went both ways, but we started some wetter greens and some spots that stayed too wet.
And you started to see it work in terms of
difference.
evening it out by drying it out. Yeah, that's the key thing with Ecolite is that it's a bigger pore space, so it does work osmotically. As that area dries out around the prill, it'll release moisture back in, and before that, it'll suck moisture into it if the area is too wet. Exactly.
Yeah, I still have flexibility. Every head's on its own station, so I can put in the computer, but with the overheads run, I can get it pretty even for what I have it set up for. So that's the biggest thing for us. And then I just got to make sure, every day I go and check moisture meter and touch up spots and then adjust in the computer. And I mean, we're not really doing a ton afternoon watering with hoses, just here and there if something gets.
How big is this crew, by the way?
We do 11.
Okay. At the most.
At the most, yeah. And I have like 3 guys that I guess are good with the hose, but I haven't really have to use them in the afternoon anymore. I usually check things in the afternoon, touch up what I need to, and then get out and we'll start over in the morning. But it's eliminated a ton of afternoon overtime hours for the hose guys.
It's huge, man.
I'd say 95% of those hours are gone now.
And that's so simple. Yeah, that's so simple. It's such a simple fix.
Yeah, we're not like spending a crazy amount of money on.
It's cheap.
Ecolite, yeah,
it's a cheap, simple.
And the labor
fix.
that goes into that's minimal compared to what. And the hose guys were getting frustrated,
Oh, morale for the crew.
Yeah, and it's tough, especially with the golfers in the pandemic. The etiquette and it was just guys were just hitting into greens with guys on hoses, and you can yell at the guy or get frustrated. It's never a battle you're going to win. So
no, and I mean, this is as good as time as any to just kind of take the perspective of this is a business, right? Like this golf course is a business.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you have customers that you're trying to keep happy.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of money involved.
Right. So like you don't want to piss off the customer.
No, it doesn't help anybody. And It's really not helping us. And if we can get by using less guys on hoses and do it this way, we might have, some spots we hit in the morning, but really the green stayed pretty healthy and
you took it beyond greens to find hot spots.
Yeah, fairways. The fairways mostly are wet spots. I found that been more beneficial to us because I have a couple of spots that stay wet.
Okay.
The Ecolite brushed in some of those areas have really helped out. Even surface drainage and
because we're talking turf loss there,
right? If you have healthy turf in those areas, the drainage issue kind of goes away too.
Right. Yeah, getting more healthy turf.
Yeah, once you start seeing decline and shallow roots, it's just not going to work out.
But if it stays wet, that's what you're going to get. You'll get by the end of July that there just isn't any more grass left. Okay, very interesting. So that's key. You also enlisted C3 and kind of touted the benefits of C3 from the start.
Yeah, C3 I think is the first product I really started with.
Right, at least certainly on the liquid side.
Yeah, And now I'm at the point where even our budget's not the craziest number. I'll have that C3 in almost every spray tank we do because it's that valuable.
Dude.
It's better than fertilizer or anything else you can put in the tank. It makes everything better.
Oh, I love hearing that.
And there's definitely some wetting agent aspects to it. And
yes, there is.
When it works with the fertilizer, it makes everything a lot better.
And you say fertility, like works with the fertilizer, you use a little bit lower rates.
Yeah, I'm not using a ton of fertilizer. It's all super low rates.
And you even send a tank out sometimes with C3 by itself.
Yeah, when we get done with fairways or sometimes greens, I guess is more the time we do it.
Okay.
If we have extra C3 or we have some time, I throw some C3 and say a little bit of UMax fertilizer and hit some traffic spots.
And where do you target for that? Cart traffic spots?
Cart traffic and rough, especially because the fairways I didn't get enough attention. It's just the rough areas and some like random tee boxes,
tee surrounds, green surrounds.
Yeah, all the any spots I'm trying to grow some seed where it's a little beat up in the spring. It really helps that stuff.
Wow. So you see a color response at a C3. But you use it also for, like you're saying, the wetting agent aspect, and just the areas that take the most abuse tend to get that regenerative growth, that kind of like lateral growth, root growth that keeps the turf stand
fills
thick.
in without being overstimulated.
Yeah, not juicy.
All right, and it works like spray tank. It defoams everything. It mixes awesome.
Oh, awesome.
So anytime I don't use that, I get, I have to use the foam defoamer.
Oh, seriously? Yeah. When you're using C3,
wipe out the foam for some reason.
Oh, interesting.
I think I started using it because of the earthworm.
Yeah, that's what
craziness
I was
that was
say.
here.
Well, you tell a great story of when you interviewed for this job, right?
Yeah, they had I think 9 cases of the early bird, and they had earthworm castings on every fairway, every tee.
And it came up in the interview, like the folks you were interviewing with.
Oh yeah, that was one of the biggest concerns was the earthworm castings, and I couldn't figure out what they were doing or what was going on. They were trying to spray everything on them. And
you opened up the chem shed and found all that stuff.
Yeah, some crazy insecticides and stuff I've never even seen. The early bird was, there's 9 cases of that stuff.
That stuff's caustic too.
Yeah.
Nasty tea tree oil, very, very rough.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of everything. I think a lot of it was the watering program probably forced them up, but
okay.
I mean,
so you got C3 in the mix, and you just
I haven't had to deal with earthworms since.
It's really nuts.
It didn't even take. That was like the 3rd application of the C3 on fairways.
Right.
I started seeing it like go away, and then I'm like, I got to use this stuff on tees.
Okay.
And I started using it everywhere, and it was wild.
It's a tough thing to identify because, like, I talk to people that use C3, and some people are like, well, I say, do you see anything out of the earthworm castings? And they're like, oh, let me think. Like, I really haven't thought about earthworm casts in a long time.
Yeah, if you haven't thought about it and you're not scraping rollers after every fairway mow and that kind of stuff, or the mower comes back and it's so caked with mud, the reel's not spinning. It's probably a good thing.
Then you don't have a problem.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you're right. You'd go, like, I remember going back or driving down a fairway in the afternoon when I was greenkeeping and seeing, like, the height of cut all messed up.
It destroys mowers.
You're not smears.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Right.
We don't have time for dry cuts or anything crazy here, so that's not happening.
Not with the rounds.
No.
I remember one day in April greenkeeping and spending an hour cleaning a 5-gang reel
easy.
at like the old wash pad where like
it gets caked on and then dried.
You've already mowed
like
for 5
degrees.
hours. Yeah, you've mowed for 5 hours. Your hands are already shot from gripping the steering wheel, and now you're
rollers off.
Rollers. Yeah, exactly.
And then you get yelled at for having the mud on the reels for, what'd you do that for?
Right.
You should have cleaned these off 6 hours ago.
Oh my gosh. All right. So not having that problem is
I get reminded too. If I'm following a bunch of guys on Twitter, so I see the earthworm issues in the area. I'm like, It makes a huge difference. I'm not seeing any of that stuff. And
Give it a try.
Yeah,
give it a try.
Got
and
to.
it does everything else. The product does everything else. It's only that's like an ancillary
it's an
benefit.
extra benefit to everything for sure. But
yeah,
it's definitely something that's a priority for me to get that in almost everything we do.
Even
at a lower budget, just makes everything more efficient. It might not make sense initially, but you start using it, and it makes my life 1,000% easier in a lot of things.
That's good to
hear. So we're not doing a ton of wetting agents on fairways, pretty minimal hand watering and that kind of thing. So any advantage I can get with the fairways, especially,
right,
and the tees too with the recovery. But
yeah, now you've mentioned that tees are an area of focus for you this season. I guess just the regular sort of problems, not just so much abuse.
It's just traffic and divot recovery. And
so you talked about building a divot mix with Renovate and Myco.
Myco, Renovate.
Good. I think we talked about rates on this. We didn't get to talk about this today.
It wasn't crazy rates you were telling me.
It's
It's
not
pretty
a
low
lot.
rates.
8 pounds of each per yard. That's a good.
Right.
That's a good rough estimate. So like 16 pounds total of EarthWorks per
which is
yard.
easy
of
to manage.
material.
The guys are mixing up the seed anyway, so
right.
Try to do better with that. I've used like standard divot mix in the past. We just have so many divots. The guys get too thick with it, dump it on, and you start getting burns, and it doesn't work out well. And I think if I try to manage what we got and have more flexibility with the Renovate and the Myco.
Since you're bringing so much good info to light here, fill us in on what you choose for seed in like tees, fairways.
We're doing all ryegrass on seed. We're going to we started this year with bentgrass. I want to start renovating tees with bentgrass.
Okay.
So I might move into the fine fescue bentgrass mixture.
Okay.
See how that goes. But
fairways,
in general, everything's ryegrass. You just need stuff to grow.
Yeah, because out here is a Heinz 57.
I got everything, especially in fairways.
Yeah.
So I just need quick germination and.
Well, we started out the conversation with talking about how beautiful ryegrass is. That both the Link and Arrowhead have like it's the end of January and they got everyone turns on the TV and it's like wow it's green,
it's growing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's ryegrass, baby. Yep, looks good. Well, yeah, so that's cool. We got you got a lot going on now. Kind of close out the talk. Thinking about how this amounts to, let's bring it back to that this is a business, River Vale Country Club. And when you have this kind of success at the ground level, not to use the pun, but like it does start with making the golf course better.
Yeah.
But you've been here now for 5 years and you've seen the benefit globally for the business, right? Like you're doing more here.
Oh, absolutely. I think when I first got here, our revenues were low 3 millions. Now we're at almost 4.5 million.
Wow! In a short amount of
time, and we're able to bump up rates. Nobody you get some complainers, but people are paying it. We're every tee time's packed, and they see the product out there get better every day, and now they want to give you more money to make it better.
Okay, so let's talk. Yeah, how does that translate for you and your life? Like they treat you well. They do, and they notice. They
notice things. Everything I do, it's for a purpose, and it's the return on investment's all considered. And I think they want to see me put together a budget that if I wanted anything I wanted, I'll put that together, and we'll meet in the middle on what actually makes sense for this place. But I think if you have success early like that and you do projects and you put money into the place and they see the return on investment right away like that, they're gonna help you out and give you more. And the town's River Vale's been really good, and they understand what I'm trying to do. And
because this is a municipal golf course, right?
Yes.
So the town owns it, but they're seeing it.
Yeah.
I forget what it was I was trying to pull you out for. Like we were talking scheduling or something, but like you're like, oh no, I can't. I got to go to some town meeting tonight. They gave you an award last year, right?
Yeah, I think it was an award and a bonus thing. I had to get up in front of the men's club because our memberships, I guess, it's semi-private, so
Okay.
I deal with a lot of the members, and they wanted to recognize me and my efforts, and
Excellent.
yeah, so that was good.
That was this past December?
Yeah, so everybody, all the members, and they've been very supportive, and they see a lot of these members have been here 30 years.
Oh, dude.
So they've seen everything, and so everybody's super excited and love what I do, and really turn this place into a golf course and a place they want to bring their friends. And
Yeah, they're proud of it.
There's a lot of private country clubs in this area that these members play everywhere.
Oh,
And they're bringing members here too, and everybody's very impressed with everything. So
It's exciting.
it's gotten to the point where we're competing with Edgewood down the street, or
Right. Yeah, a lot. There's a lot, like you're saying, there's a lot of private golf in this county and the county right above us in New York.
some of these members belong there, and they bring their members from other places here, and
Right. And like, let me shock you what it's like.
yeah,
over
not
at
a lot of
River
people
Vale.
know about it, and they get here and like, wow, I didn't know this was back here. It's
a gem.
it's an experience, that's for sure.
It's a gem. And you're right. I mean, just set the scene a little bit more. You're right on this reservoir at the back of the property. That's like, so you open up to this.
Yeah, we did a lot of tree work back there too to open up some of those.
And
those
it's
vistas
beautiful.
and-
It's made a big difference. Like you really get a.
yeah, we've done a ton of tree work. That's helped out.
Okay, so
a lot
that's
too around
another key.
Greens and tees. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're spending a lot of resources on getting the white pines and all the shady areas fixed, and
Yeah, this was a place
that's
that
another
was
reason why the traffic didn't hold up as well either. It's
choke points.
yeah,
You have to
get
drive
those-
around these
yeah.
groves of trees and everything. Yeah. Oh, and white pines just destroy the
Yeah,
ground with
destroy.
top roots.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Cart paths and tee boxes and rough areas, but we're chipping away. There's a ton of stuff that was planted in the late 70s that we're still trying to get under control. And
Yeah, I'm looking at
you
some
can see
right
them
now.
out there. Yeah. We put a dent in it, but it's still a long way to go.
Oh, that's all right. I mean, it's job security, buddy.
Yeah, it is.
That's what we're doing here, and the golfers will keep on coming.
Yeah, I've not seen anything slow down, which is the wild part.
They'll
I thought
keep-
this year we'd see something slow down, but
Well, I think we're also kind of at a perfect storm of like baby boomers retiring and like more people available to golf every day.
yeah,
Like
a lot of people around here I think are working from home still. So
Right.
there's still time. They come out in the morning. There's a group of people that come out every morning and play.
Wow.
So
So let's see. We mentioned. I'm just trying to end with a forecast for 2023. You mentioned that tees are going to be a focus of yours. You're going to continue with the spot spraying of C3 in the areas. Added sprays where you would benefit
Yes.
from. Added aerifications with Ecolite in the areas where you could benefit, particularly drying things outside of the greens, so like in fairways and rough and car paths. Any other projects that you have in mind for this season? Any other accomplishments you want to get done?
I think in general, I think we're still working on bunkers. We redid a bunch of bunkers last year, so we're redoing a lot of bunkers. And
What's the redo like?
we have 4 holes left. We're shelling out everything and putting new drainage liners and
Okay. Yeah,
Resign-
new drainage and liners.
yeah,
And new sand.
new sand and move some bunkers around where it makes sense now. We're gonna start our tee program. I'm trying to really push for it. It might probably go through. I got to talk to the higher ups this week, but I want to start a tee program. We're starting putting some money into tees, leveling out tees,
Nice.
converting them to bent grass, and then irrigation system is pretty dated in a lot of areas, so that's another big capital
Okay.
item that we're going to start spending money on, and everything's going well.
Yeah. So you got a lot on the plate.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, we have a lot going on.
Well, you and I are going to see each other next week in Orlando. We'll, this will probably come out after the
show.
The show, but we'll catch everyone in Orlando. Have a good time, and
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, and then when we'll get back, it'll be season time.
Yeah, we'll see when the snow finally comes,
That's right. That's right.
if it ever does.
All right, brother.
All right, thanks,
Yeah.
Jack.
Thank you, Brian. This was good.
That was great.